Wookie News, where the Wookie
Okay, guys, let's get to the story now. Chris, to you.
In politics today, the parliamentary member, Claude Patry, of the New Democratic Party, defected to the separatist group Bloc Québécois, saying that Canada should not place restrictions on when the French-speaking province of Quebec could separate. Nate, would you care to fill them in?
Before Nathan tells you more, let me give you a little backstory on the Bloc Québécois. They are a rising political party dedicated to promoting the Quebec province and sovereignty. Quebec is the largest province in Canada and the only predominantly French-speaking.
The Bloc Québécois,
often referred as the Bloc by the English-speaking community, has been vying for Quebec's independence from Canada for the last 23 years, since its formation in 1990. Woohoo!
the Bloc Québécois.
The Bloc?
Fine, the Bloc.
Oh, sorry. It looks like we're out of time for this story. Moving on. And it was disorder in the court this afternoon. You all remember Richard Henry Bain. The alleged shooter of a Parti Québécois rally was threatened by Judge Perry Labelle, who said that he could, quote, have Bain removed from the courtroom after Bain had interrupted him a number of times and refused to sit down.
The Parti Québécois shares strong ties with the Bloc Québécois.
The Bloc?
Fine, the Bloc. They both share similar goals for the province of Quebec. The shooting took place last year after the Parti Québécois had just won a general election. One man was killed in the shooting, another injured.
Bain is politically against the Bloc, and the Parti Québécois has been using the attention in the case to voice his opinions. The prosecutor asked that a ban be placed on Bain's outburst to stop him from causing prejudice in potential jurors. In other news,
Chris?
Apparently the bomb scare at the Calgary Courts Center was, in fact, not a bomb. Here's Nate with more on the story.
The wallet-sized bomb was apparently put through an X-ray machine of the suitor bomber's own will. It gave all the appearances of a real bomb, but had no explosive content. Some are calling it a prank, but others are worried that this could have been a dry run.
the suitor bomber was released, but an investigation will soon be underway. It is stated that the suitor bomber was uncooperative to inquiry. In other news, the Toronto Maple Leafs are making life miserable for hockey player Tuukka Rask.
Oh, really?
Yeah. According to the Cowboys, the team has a plan to put some big-body team members in front of the 6'3" Boston goalie, who stopped 45 shots last Monday in the Bruins' 5-2 playoff Monday night. The Leafs forward met threatened comments. To have that number of shots, you should win the game. Just for Game 4 on Wednesday night. We've just got to get bodies in front of him to take his eyes away, he added. Another team member, the central, Nazim Kadri, commented as well. He's a good goalkeeper. He's going to stop everything he can save, just like the most goals in the league. So I think it's important for us to get some bodies in front of him, especially some of the big forwards we have up in front, and do a great job of getting in front of him. It seems like the only way we're going to score or create secondary chances of ourselves. Boston leads 7-0. Boston leads best out of 7 series games 2-1.
The Toronto coach Randy Carlisle urges his players to go to those tough areas, including driving at the net. He explains that a lot of the goals are scored mostly rebound goals coming off pads. The new scheme of goaltending is the butterfly, and there's a lot more junk laying around the front of the net. Off the goalie's pads, it's just like making a pass to a player if you can pass it off the goalie's pads. We haven't been scoring enough of the dirty goals, he says. Now for a quick intermission, guys. Who are we?
Wookie. Wookie. Where the Wookie knows. Interesting news. According to a local source, a small town's hockey rink will be replaced by a medical marijuana farm that will produce medical marijuana right next to an elementary school. Here's Ryan with the details. Ryan?
Yes, Chris, it's true. In the small town of McTeer, the mall hockey rink will be replaced by a medical marijuana farm, a decision made behind closed doors. The news spread with a rumor saying that the town council had agreed to shut down the local rink to let yet another private company take over. The details came in that the business was a medical marijuana plant, and the news took the community and the news took the community's 1,000 or so denizens by surprise.
According to a resident, the plant will be about 67 meters away from an elementary school. There's some controversy over this, and most do not agree with this idea. I can throw a golf ball that far, says the father of three, a local contractor. When our kids are playing outside in the playground, they'll be looking across the street at a marijuana grow-up. Another adds that if there's an appetite for this to go forward, then maybe we'll consider it. If there's a clear message that this is not the way to proceed, then that will be a clear message we'll take away.
On the other hand, this would be an excellent chance to make more of the medicinal plant recognized as a bona fide medicine by Health Canada. That does not mean it is well liked, and other ideas of slight appeasement are being discussed, such as another recreation center being built.
Last Friday, Canada's Supreme Court decided to hold a second trial for Ivana Levkovic, a woman accused of hiding her dead baby in a plastic bag. Because the distinction between 1, a miscarriage or stillbirth, 2, when the fetus becomes a human being, and 3, what actually occurred prior to the disposing of the body, was never settled. They originally put the case aside and acquitted her. A conviction will only lie where the Crown proves that the child, to the knowledge of the accused, was likely to have been born alive, says Justice Morris Fish. Chris?
Indeed. It was a unanimous 7-0 decision on Friday, the 3rd, by the Supreme Court to order a new trial for the accused. Now, back to Nate.
Pride seems a major issue in Dalton McQuinty's political life right now. The former premier made a panicked decision to relocate the Oakville and Mississauga gas plants. He made a mistake, but what he didn't do is make up for it. He refuses to apologize to all the ratepayers and taxpayers, fellow members of the legislature, voters, and staff of the project that is costing $585 million and rising, much past the $40 million limit. He scolded opposition members for having the temerity to question his judgment, says Toronto Sun. You know, he really must be trying to hide something if he admits to his ignorance, yet won't attempt to make up for it.
This whole affair sounds quite ghastly.
Ghastly. It's a gas plant. I get it.
I heard just recently that an alien landing was spotted just outside of Toronto, so just beware, all you farmers out there. If you see any little green men, that...
Now wait just a minute there, Chris. We don't want to turn this into a Fox News station. That's a bit over the top, don't you think?
I agree. That story just seemed to come out of outer space or something.
Ah, Maybe it was just wishful thinking. Oh well.
Here's a real one. Toronto is thinking of setting up a bike system to copy what is going on in other major cities around the world. The tactic seems to work. And with Toronto being such a big place, people would most likely accept this idea of transportation with open arms. Users get to borrow bikes for rent at one location and drop them off again somewhere else. This allows for tourists and locals to get places faster than walking and cheaper and quicker than having to find automotive forms of transportation. Well, that was a full day of news, gentlemen. Tune in next week for us yapping about nonsense. Bye-bye!
Wookie! 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 News! With a Wookie! No.